Hello everyone, welcome to this new chapter where we'll be discussing the French versus the King's Indian attack. And before we start, I have to point this out. Most of the positions we'll analyze, we can also reach them starting with a Sicilian. So let me show you. E4, E6, here we have the French, here we play D3. Black usually plays d5. Now we have the queen trade coming with d takes e4. Therefore we play knight to d2. Usually black plays with c5. And here we have what I call the French position against the King's Indian attack. So we can also reach this setup if black starts with c5. Here I can play knight f3. Here, as we know, black can play all sorts of Sicilians, but let's say he plays with e6, d3. If at some point he decides to play d5, then we are transposing to a French. If he doesn't play with d5, if he plays with d6, g6, knight c6, then he is within Sicilian territory. So I think this is important to point out because most of the games we'll see they start as a Sicilian. So to clarify, let's see the main move order once more, and then we'll start with the game of this chapter. So e4, e6, d3. If he plays d5, then we play knight d2 as soon as possible. We stop the queen trade, c5, knight to f3, knight c6, and now we are ready to do the fianchetto and to castle. So now we'll start with the game of this chapter. It is Sutovsky against Gershon, and you'll find this game on the PGN files, of course. So let's see what we have. Black started with a Sicilian, knight f3. Here he decides to play the Poulsen Sicilian with e6, and we are more than happy to play the King's Indian attack. So okay, here he plays knight c6. And the first key moment of this game. White plays this move. You're probably saying Ch03 or knight bd2, they are likely to transpose. And yes, that's true. I mean, part of this quote is true. But to be honest, this is more precise. And let me explain why. If he plays d5, now the queen trade is coming, d takes e4 followed by queen takes e1. If he plays this, yes, we have to play knight bd2. But if he plays a Sicilian variation, let's say he plays with d6 instead of d5, then there's no need of playing knight bd2. So we can take advantage of this move order. We can try playing c3 plus d4. This would be tough to achieve if we already have the knight on d2, because the queen is not supporting the d4 square. So when black plays this Sicilian move order, it is better to play, or it is better to delay the knight bd2 move. This we'll repeat this during the Sicilian chapter, but just in case, it is good to know this now. So, okay, Ch03, white plays, black plays d5, and now with d takes e4 coming, we have to play knight bd2. Okay, knight f6, bishop. Here black plays with bishop e7. He can also try playing bishop d6, although this move is a bit risky because at some point he's exposing himself to moves like e5 in the future. So bishop e7 is more accurate. We castle, and now we have a lot of ideas from black. In this game he plays queen c7. We know the main move is castling short, and we saw this in the introduction. Here we know rook e1, then we play e5, knight f1, bishop f4, h4. We saw all of these maneuvers during the introduction, and this is what the main line is all about. We do this kingside attack when black is castled short. However, black has some lines where he tries keeping his king in the center, or he can also try castling queenside. So queen c7. Let's see here. Okay, queen c7. The idea, as you can probably notice, is to play waiting moves to see what white does. So, as usual, in the King's Indian attack, we play useful moves, and rook e1 is one of them. And here black plays b6. So, I don't know how to call this system, but I would call it like a waiting system to castle queenside. Actually, that is black's plan. And in order to understand this, we have to... How would I put it? We'll play e5 if he castles kingside. If his king is in the center, or if he castles queenside, we'll delay this move. And instead of saying the idea, I think it's better to show you moves. He plays b6. If he castles, then once he's showing us his cards, once the king is there, then we are more than happy to play this. And then we drive our pieces to the king side. We know this plan already, and we know the target is on the king side already. That happens if he castles, but if he doesn't, if he plays waiting moves like b6, we don't want to play e5, because then he plays knight d7, now he's attacking the e5 pawn, suppose we protect it with queen e2, now he's not committed to kingside castle, he can play bishop b7, he can castle queenside, and what is worse for us, he can try fighting a kingside attack with h5, g5, and this is not comfortable for us. These are the positions we are trying to avoid when we play the King's Indian attack. Playing a quick e5 when his king is in the center is not a good idea. And just to clarify, this knight d7, queen e2, apart from bishop b7, I bet this move first might be interesting for black too. He's pretty close to castling queenside, and g4 plus knight takes e5 is a real threat. So we know the rule already. We'll play e5 as long as he is castled short. So now we understand the queen c7 variation, the waiting variation. Queen c7, in this game, white plays the useful rook e1, and okay, b6. Before we move on to this b6 line, I'll show you a quick example of a game where black castled, white decided to play e5, knight d7, queen e2, we protect the e5 pawn, black starts his queenside action as usual, knight f1, b4, okay, he can advance as much as he wants, but we have a real target on the king side. On the queen side, he's got superficial targets like our pawns, our rook. We have the real one, which is his king. So a5. In this game, white decided to play knight e3. We know the other route for this knight is h4, knight here, knight g4. Knight e3 works too, because here we have a trick we'll learn sooner or later in this course, which is sacrificing on d5 followed by e6. So in this game, black decided to play queen d8, and well, he's clearly worried about knight takes e5 plus the e6 advance. If he played something like this, we can take this e6, attacking the queen, attacking the knight, bishop d6. This is more or less forced, and the thing is, in positions like this, now the center is open, our bishop happens to be much better than black's, and we also dominate the only open file in this position. The endgame happens to be uncomfortable for black. And the variation we just saw is more or less forced. Once we play knight takes d5, this is only move, takes, only move, we take, well, he's gotta take on d7, otherwise we can play this crazy move, queen e8, so this, knight e5, he has to take, and this is forced, d5 is hanging, and this is quite uncomfortable for black. So all these tricks, we'll simulate them as soon as we see more and more games on the King's Indian attack. So that happens if he castles. We'll see positions where he castles in detail during next videos. Now let's focus on this b6 move, the queen c7 plus b6, the waiting system. So okay, as we know, playing e5 here is not a good idea for white, because the king is there, and after queen e2, he's got this resource, and he queenside castles. So after b6, we have to play something else. If black is playing waiting moves, we can do the same, and we can play waiting moves as well. The question is, which one? c3, a3, queen e2. So after doing some research, I found c3 to be the best waiting move in this position. a3 is also part of our plan, and we'll play that next. The idea, of course, is to play b4, and that is good because even if he castles queenside, we can attack there. And if he castles short, we can always switch to e5, and then we go for a kingside attack. So c3, useful move. Black plays bishop b7. Of course, he wants to stay with his plan. We play a3. Now we are ready to play b4, and now black has to make a decision whether to castle kingside, whether to castle queenside, or whether to stay with the king in the middle. We know that's not a good idea in the long run, so he has to make a move. And he also ran out of useful moves. He played queen c7, b6, and bishop b7 already. Since b4 is coming, he might consider playing a5. But this move we know is a bit risky, because after a5 I can play a4, and suddenly the b5 square is whole. We can later take on d5, we can try knight c4, queen b3, b6 is also suffering, so a5 is not a good idea for black. And also when he plays a5, he can forget about queenside castling, because I don't mind playing b4 and open as many lines as possible on the queenside. So okay, two main moves in this position. I think this one is possible, but if he wanted to castle short, he would have done this already. Here I can play e5, and I can go for my standard kingside attack. So the only real chance black has in this position is castling queenside, or he can try taking on e4 and castling queenside afterwards. So, okay, let's see. This is what black played in this game, and believe it or not, white ignores the fact the rook is on the same file as the queen and reacts with b4. There's no real danger on the d file yet, so white takes the chance to start attacking on the queen side. This is what I like about the King's Indian attack. No matter what variation black plays, we always find a way to keep the initiative. And now we are the ones attacking, this time on the queen side. So before black decides to take on e4, as we'll see, there's no danger on the d file yet. If he takes on b4, well, this is not a good idea for him, because the a file is open, b5 is coming anytime soon, and who knows, bishop f4 will happen. I mean, it is another possibility. In the analysis, you'll find this move as well, although, I mean, c4, well, the idea is maybe after d takes, he can take on e4. But okay, after c4, I can just take on d5 first. If knight takes, well, he takes the pawn on c3, but that knight, I don't see any escaping square for this knight. And if bishop f6, I can play bishop b2. So, yeah, this c4 doesn't look like a good idea. Takes, well, he can take with the e-pawn. But okay, I take, he takes, I just move my queen or bishop f1, and this pawn is in trouble. If b5, a4, I keep on opening lines, and this is, yeah, terrible news for black. Takes, two weaknesses, b5 being one of them. I check, I take on b5, and he's toasted. So, okay, yeah, c4 is not a real possibility. So after b4, black plays a sensitive move, d takes e4, opening the d file. The game is beginning at this point. I mean, opening is done, is over. The middle game is starting, and here is where the game begins. D takes e4. We have a position where I think white is better. I mean, slightly better. Black is okay, but he has to be precise to get a good game, because his kingside attack is not likely to happen, whereas our queenside attack is almost there. We are attacking on c5. One day we can try this. We can establish a knight on c4, and then we can play a4, a5. This move is going to be annoying for him. So let's see what black played. He played this move. And the idea is reasonable. He wants to play knight e5, thus controlling the c4 square. He's also preparing this move. And white plays queen b3. Okay, queen e2 is also possible, centralizing the queen. But queen b3, it's like we are pointing out to the queen side as well. So black plays this move. Bishop f6 is not doing much. In fact, I can also consider taking on c5 now. There's no bishop on this diagonal, and I open the b file for free. So he plays the human move knight to e5, takes, knight takes, and knight c4. Very simple maneuver from white. We want to trade his most important pieces, and if he takes on c4, which was the correct move by the way, I play queen takes, and the pressure continues. We have the queenside attack going, bishop f4 is likely to happen. If he plays this, which is a mistake, I take, king takes, and despite having equal material, the pressure is too much. His king is in an open spot, and I mean, maybe our advantage is not that much, but he has to defend for a while, and my bishops are much more active than his. So I don't mind playing this risk-free endgame against anyone. I'm pretty sure I'll have my chances if I play a long game there. So knight c4, black played the aggressive knight to d3, but this is a risky decision. I mean, the knight here is beautiful, but it's not doing much, and this knight on c4 is the real deal for white. I mean, this knight is not easy to... I mean, black cannot push this knight back. If he plays b5, I have knight to a5, and we'll see what happens. White played rook d1, and in the main game we see black playing rook d7, which is a mistake. White played b5, and now he establishes his knight on c4, but actually he had a much better move, which you're probably analyzing at this point, which is rook takes d3. When we play the King's Indian attack, we always have this kind of possibilities. Now black is in a lot of trouble, and he has to play bishop d6 if he doesn't want to lose on the spot. If he plays queen d7, we have knight to e5. He can play this, but I take on f7. If he moves the queen somewhere else, the rook is hanging. Maybe queen d8 looks like a better move, but knight e5, despite being up and exchange, black is in trouble, because if rook f8, we can take on d3, but this is much better, and then we take on e6 plus f7. So, believe it or not, his king on c8 is not safe enough. The other possibility was taken on c1, and this is the example I wanted to show. As white, we can take with the a rook and try to play an endgame with some advantage. It is fair to say my knight is dominating his bishops, but white decided to play this. Rook d takes c1. Black is dominating the d file, although this file is a bit empty. Okay, king b8. Careful move by black, it makes sense. b5. Now this knight on c4 is a giant. No way to kick this knight back from c4. Black starts the kingside attack with h5, a4, and guess what? White is arriving first. This shouldn't be a surprise because we had an initiative already on the queen side, and this is way too slow. Even if he plays h4, no real threats on the h file. I can play this. He can take, I can take, and he cannot even reach the h file. So even if he doubles up, there's no mating threat because of my bishop. So the game followed bishop here, rook e1. White is not interested in trading pieces off. So rook e1, h4, a5. We are almost there. There's nothing black can do to stop the queenside opening. Takes. We take with the h-pawn, obviously. And now he plays king c8. Okay, well, I don't think he can move the queen. b6 is hanging. I think he was worried about this, followed by queen a4. Unfortunately for him, there's no defense against queen a7. So okay, after pawn takes, he plays king c8, but white wins on the spot by taking on b6 plus rook a7. The threats are too much, e5 is part of them, and, well, he can probably play something like this, but white is clearly dominating and should win in the short run, I believe. With accurate play, he should win in the short run. So this happened in a game, and you'll also find this on the database. This is Ch03 against Sutovsky, so you can check this. And I like this example because it shows what can happen in these lines. Even if we play it simple, we get good positions as white. Remember to play these waiting moves, c3, a3. Remember, we can attack on the queen side. Usually, on the King's Indian attack, we attack on the king side, but we have situations like this one where we can dominate on both sides of the board. So we have to pay special attention to these variations where we don't play with e5. During next videos, we'll focus in positions where black castles short, and then we have to play with e5 and attack on the king side. But to be honest, those are the positions I really want to play when I play the King's Indian attack, so I don't mind playing those. So that's all for this video. I hope you found this useful. I hope you could learn something. And of course, I want to see you guys in my next chapters. Thank you.